Hello everyone. Today we're doing integers and floats. Now, what's the difference between an integer and a float? Well, let's type in number here. Number is a variable, as you know from the last video, and we could put in a number here. If we type in print and type in type num, if we hit play, our output here is class int, which means integer. Now if I do 5.1, it says this is a float. So a float is just an integer. An integer is a whole number, and a float is a partial number. So it's like 5.1. And if I put double quotes around this, then it shows the class is string. Cool, right? So that's it. Thanks for watching. Just kidding. I'm just going to grab a couple of these operators here. So these are just examples of things that you can use in your code. So let's say our number is 5 and our number 2 is 10. And if I do print, I can do print number plus number 2. And if I hit play, then it says 15 because it adds these two numbers together. Now here's the cool thing. We can also do something like number 3 equals number plus number 2. And if we do print number 3 and hit play, then it's going to print it out twice, because now it printed out this equation and then it printed out the variable of that equation. But now what if we do number 3 plus equals number 3? Here's a weird thing. Now what do we get? We get 30. Because number 3 added itself with number 3. So we can also do number 3 plus equals 1, and then do print number 3. So this is just going to add 1 to it. So we could do 31. Or we can do number 3 minus equals 5, let's say. So now what this is going to do is it's going to take 31 and minus 5 from it. And then it's going to print it if we tell it to. So I think the result here is going to be 26. And I'm right. Look at that. I'm a freaking genius, man. And now I'm just going to delete all this. And we could do number equals 3.75. And we can go print. Oops. Print doesn't go in the parentheses. The variable goes in the parentheses. We can do print number. So this prints out that number, which is a float. So it prints out the float. If we do round, then it rounds that float up. But now what if we wanted to round it to the nearest tenth of a number? Then we could do a comma and a 1. So that's going to be the first digit of the float on the other side of the decimal. So this is going to round this one. So it's going to be 3.8. If I do 74, it's going to be 3.7. The next thing we're going to get into are comparisons. So here we can do number 1 equals 5 and number 2 equals 4. And we could do a print where number 1 is equal to number 2. So now these two are not equal, right? So if I say they're equal, the print is going to print out false. So it does that equation for us. And then if we do a less than or equal to, then we get a true. Nope, false. Okay. So we're saying 5 is less than or equal to 2 or 4. So that's right, it is false because 5 is not less than or equal to 4. It's more. So if we put this thing the other way and make it greater or equal to, then it will be true. But now, if we make these strings instead of integers, then this will not bring back true. Oh, yes, it will. But you know what it won't do? Is if I hit plus, it's going to add 5 to the 4, but not in the way that you want it to. See, it's going to bring back 54. But it's not actually 54, it's just 5 and 4. And it's seeing the 5 and the 4 as two different integers, but it's putting them together so it looks like it's saying 54, but the value is actually not 54, it's just 5 and 4 printed out as a string instead of numbers. But what you can do with this is type in num1 equals int num1, and if you do num2 equals int num2, if you do this now it will do a proper equation. So that's all I had about integers and floats. I'd like to thank you guys for watching and see you on the next video.